As my journey in building my wealth continues, I wanted to share with you 5 crucial lessons around money and my finances that have literally transformed my life. Some of these are controversial and some are subtle, but without them, I'd have a messy runway ahead. But since I've implemented them, my pathway ahead is clear and free from money distractions. Buckle up, let's go. Investing is not going to get you rich quickly, but it's still crucial. If you're watching this, you've probably seen my other videos. But if this is your first visit to my channel, then welcome. But seriously, what the hell have you been doing? Subscribe to the channel already, so the next time I say you've probably seen my other videos, you can stand tall and proudly say, yes, I have seen your other videos. Anyway, back to what I was saying. I've said in previous videos how you should be investing and the optimum way to do this to take advantage of compounding over time. And that's all good, and yes, it's true. But there is a factor that needs to be considered here, a bloody important factor, and that is time. Time, and lots of it, is required to make serious money through investing. Investing sets up your path, so your money grows without you constantly needing to take action on it or work on it. Sure, check in from time to time, rebalance your portfolio by moving allocations around and things like that, but not much more than that. Once you've automated the way you set up your investments and put money into them, you will see your wealth in these investments grow over time. And notice I didn't say straight away. It's over time, not straight away. It's not a short-term way of growing wealth. I'm talking long-term here. Not in the next year, not in the next 5 years, and perhaps not even in the next 10 years. Think 20 years plus. After you've automated the way you invest, you are free to put your focus elsewhere. This focus can now go on building wealth faster. You of course could choose something else to focus on, or a number of things. Maybe some passion pursuit, some other thing that you wanted to do, to explore, full 100% dedication to spending time with those you love, your family, your friends perhaps, or something else entirely. But this channel is called Finance Fix, so money, wealth and finances is what it's all about. And I'm going to assume that you want to build wealth faster. Your investing setup is vital, and you need to accept that it's on a well-trodden path once you set it up correctly. If you didn't set this up correctly, you are probably not going to be building a solid foundation for you and your family. And without a solid foundation, you may find that anything you do have crumbles out of your hands. You are at risk of money always being scarce in your life, not working for you and never being under your control. You'll be stuck at the ground floor, always wondering why there's not enough money left at the end of the month. And all of this will take up all of your focus. You'll never really be able to release your focus to concentrate on ways to truly level up. If you want to grow wealth to enjoy it now, then investing isn't typically the way to get you there. Investing is about long-term growth and wealth protection. It sets you up on the right trajectory, pointing in the right direction. But that's it. Sort it out properly, automate it, and then divert your attention into building wealth faster. Lesson 2. In the beginning, saving is important, but later, saving is stupid. For me, saving is for 2 things only: my contingency fund and for big purchases. Only. That's it. A contingency fund is a fund, an account that I have money in on standby for those just-in-case moments. For some, this might be a car repair. For others, it might be a health emergency that you need to pay for. For some, it could be because their primary source of income is interrupted. They lose their job, for example, or their business has to shut up shop for whatever reason. For my contingency fund, I have 6 months worth of cash in there. And that's it. I prioritize getting 3 months worth of cash in there initially. But once I got to 3 months, I slowed down a bit and slowed down the amount of money I put into there each month. Because for me, 3 months was the priority and 6 months was a goal. Now I am at 6 months, I don't contribute to it much any longer. I just ensure that it keeps pace with inflation, so its buying power remains the same, but nothing more. Then there's big purchases. This could be a child's education, an engagement ring, maybe you're saving up a deposit to buy a home, or something like that. For everyone, it will be different. I regularly contribute to a holiday pot because we as a family love traveling and we prioritize this. And we know those holidays are going to be big expenses every year. So we save money every month that builds up, and we only spend on holidays from that. If money is in that holiday pot, we can go on holiday. If it isn't, we don't. Your contingency fund and big purchases, these are the only things to hold cash for. And I'm not talking about the cash in your pocket. In fact, I'm talking about cash that you physically cannot hold in your pocket. Oh, and another bonus lesson. Any cash that stands around for more than a few weeks should be in a high interest savings account. Never just in your ordinary current or checking account. Outside of your contingency fund and big purchases, nothing else should be in cash. Because beyond this, holding cash is stupid. It doesn't grow just sitting there in a bank account, even a high yield or high interest savings one. Don't get me wrong, high interest savings accounts are better than current accounts, as I said earlier. But you still miss out on way more growth by just having it sit in cash. Yes, sitting in a bank account, your money is safe, mostly, but it's too safe. Keeping more cash around in a bank account, more than what you need for a contingency fund and for your big purchases that you know are coming, will hamper your long-term wealth building. In that it might grow, but it will grow so little it's suboptimal. And why would you choose to have less? For every 20-year time frame in the last 96 years, equities, i.e. the stock market, have delivered inflation-beating returns. So money invested in these equities have beaten inflation. Now, of course, beating inflation isn't the only measure you want, but when you also factor in that cash only beat inflation in 60% of those years, you can see why I prefer most of my money to be invested and not just sitting in cash. Lesson 3. Most investing is boring, and it should be. I optimize for endurance. I don't want to constantly check my portfolio. Yeah, that's right. I don't know why that's such a difficult word to say in these videos. I don't want to consistently check it, though I admit I probably still check it way more than I should. For me, investing is about long-term growth. It's not a short-term get-rich-quick scheme, and I'm not trading. I'm not picking individual stocks like I've said in other videos before. The way I see it is the world is full of businesses that make money. That's literally the point of business, to make money. And the stock market is full of these businesses. Each of these businesses, these companies, has a CEO, a board of directors, and a shed load of other people who are working hard to make that company money, to make profits, more profit year on year. Imagine if you could take a slice out of one of these businesses, or all of these businesses. When their company value increases, you get some of that value growth too. Imagine that. But wait, that's what investing in the stock market literally gives you, a share in the growth and profits of these companies. And this is another reason why I don't invest much in single stocks. Because as I can hear some of you say right now, sometimes companies lose money, don't do that well, and even die out. But as an overall market, historical trends have only ever been upwards over the long term. Market crashes are blips on the long-term trend. So unless you decide to cash out, i.e. sell at the time of a crash, you will be part of the bounce back and the continued upwards growth. And the other thing I should say here is, my investing objective is not to beat the market. If the stock market goes up by 8%, sure, it would be great to have 10%, but it would be worse to have 2%, 4%, 6% growth. I want to match the market because this is not my short-term wealth building strategy. This is my long-term wealth preservation strategy. As I said in lesson 1, growing wealth faster is a different thing for me. Investing is not that. I want average returns for an above average period of time, which according to the book, The Psychology of Money, would put me in the top 5% of investors. I'll take that any day of the week. Lesson 4, the news is stupid. Stop watching it and stop reading it. News is optimized to keep you engaged. It's a direct attack on your strongest and most primitive emotions: fear, greed, and more fear. It's almost all negative, designed to keep you baited, reading, watching, and growing the news channel or newspaper's advertising dollars. The more you get baited, the more scared and angry you become, and the more distracted you become from what you could be doing to grow as a person, to do the things you want to do, to learn the things you want to learn, to grow your wealth. And this is a vicious circle. The more you get baited and keep coming back to this cycle of negativity, the more they can sell ads. From a financial perspective, how many times have you seen headlines such as, "It's going to crash. There are signs that the stock market has overheated," or some variation of that? Just look at some of these headlines. They span times when there was a crash and times when the stock market continued to even further highs. I.e., there's no correlation at all between the headlines and actually what happens in the markets. These headlines are designed to bait you. That's it. I prefer good news, positive news. In fact, like positive news, which I dip into from time to time to give my overall psychology a boost. But I intentionally avoid things that distract me from my business, my family, my friends, and my pursuits. All of these things benefit from this lesson number 4. Lesson number 5, optimize and forget, then speed up. Years ago, I knew I needed to spend the majority of my economic time maximizing my income, but I also hated wasting money. Spending money, I loved this, but wasting it was like kryptonite to me. So I set up a plan to optimize my financial bucket. And once it was optimized, I could forget it and spend all of my time focusing on generating income, revenue, profits, wealth. So I have standards on paying myself first, my investment pot like in lesson 1, on saving like in lesson 2, and on debt in I take on good debt only. This is debt that I can use to buy assets that will generate cash for me, generate income for me. Any other short-term debt instruments like credit cards, which I consider bad debt in the main, yes, I do use them, but I optimize the way I use them. Firstly, I use cashback credit cards, so even spending on a credit card generates money for me, even though it's small. And then I ensure that I pay off the credit card bills in full every single month without fail. Otherwise, I know it will make holes in my financial bucket and drown me. I've also optimized other areas of my financial life. I negotiate all of my monthly expenditure down where I can. I don't just accept annual increases on my insurances, for example. I shop around and get the best deal. My phone bill, my media, my other stuff, it's all negotiated where possible. This is because everything I save on my monthly expenditure, I know can go into other areas of my life that I know are more important to me. And we as a family don't just spend for the sake of it. We know what we like to prioritize spending on. And then we do just that. This allows me to avoid avoid waste. Spend big on the items that we as a family have made a conscious decision to splurge on. This allows investing and saving over the long term, and then I can forget about all this stuff. And pretty much all of this is automated. It needs a little bit of time every month to just ensure it's working, but usually it just is. I don't even leave paying off credit cards to chance. It's set off to pay in full and by direct debit. It just gets done. And because it's all automated, I don't have to give it much attention at all. So I've paid myself, it's all set, my financial life is optimized, and then I can leave it alone. Any money I left is almost non-thinking money. I can do what I want with it without feeling bad, without feeling anxious, like I'm lacking or scrimping, because all the thinking, all the conscious decision making is already done. This is by design, so my focus and attention can be on the really important things. Financially, this means building more income streams, building wealth faster, building businesses, maximizing revenue and profits. Nothing is left to distract me. The standard everyday stuff is sorted. So now I can give my full attention to speeding up my wealth building journey. Oh, and there's another area of life and money that I found incredibly rewarding and fulfilling. And this is on a monthly automation cycle too. Tony Robbins and others talk about this a lot. To find out more about that one, you'll want to watch this video next.